Let's do it.
Let's do it, Dave.
I want to just take this in for a second. This is so freaking badass seeing you guys. Yes, there it is. Great to see you all. Brian, I'm going to start with you. You know, here we are. Did you have any idea after all these years we would still be talking these characters?
No, if you're asking, like when I literally was told to do this role back in '93, and they would say, you know, 28 years later, we'll still be working on this thing, I probably would have doubted you, and I'd be like, someone's been on some really strong hallucinogenics. But I'm glad we're here talking about these characters because it's been a part of my life. I mean, it's something that changed my life. I would not be here talking about this if it wasn't for that very first time that we made Clerks. So I'm glad that we're here. I think the fact that we take these characters pretty much every 11 or 12 years, which is a significant amount of time, I think that fans can see a significant change both physically in us, but also where these people would be at that age is genius move as a part of writing it. So I'm glad we're here talking about it.
Jeff, what is the magic of this story to you? And we can talk about this particular film, which I love. It's just I immediately emailed the studio last night after I saw it, and I was like, nostalgic, it's heartwarming. I have to say that because it takes me back to where I was during all the films. You guys have been a part of my life for so many years, and for me, it was just awesome just to revisit, the story. And I cried a little bit, but I don't want to do spoilers. So Jeff, tell me about. Oh, I was in tears, dude, so bad. Like I'm like, why am I crying at a Clerks movie? Jeff, the magic of this story.
The magic of the story. I think the magic of the story is the characters. They're very relatable. We work a job that everybody could sort of relate with one way or another. At some point, you worked in customer service. You always deal with customer service. You've met clerks like this. It's the relatability, and it's Kevin's keen ear for dialogue.
Jason, my dude, you have some serious dance moves, and I'm seriously, man, I forgot how great they are. Is it natural? Do you practice all the time? I could see you in a club tearing up the floor, my man.
I like it. It's funny you say that though, because I was mentioning earlier, like, how many years has it been? The first one now?
28.
28 years ago when we did that dance scene out front. I remember we did a bunch of takes, not that many because we couldn't do that many because it was film, but enough that it was long. Kevin made it stretch. And I remember I could get through the moves and I wasn't out of breath and I could move my hips. And I remember this time we did a couple rehearsals, and after we did like the first take, I was like, whoa, man, how many more are we gonna do? He's like, let's just do it one more time. And I was like, all right. So as much as I felt like I still could remember the moves, I felt like my body physically couldn't move as limber. But I appreciate from your perspective, it looked the same.
It
was
totally
a body
did.
double.
Exactly.
That story you just told is totally Clerks, dude. All right. This is the only film, and I've been covering film for many years, but I feel like this is the only film I could seriously ask this question. So, Brian, everybody's going to get the question. Brian, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
Tell me a crazy fan story over the years.
God, crazy fan story. Once was at an event called Vulgarthon. It's in Red Bank. Kevin would have a small film festival of films that either he directed and produced himself, or films that friends of his produced and things like that. And then you'd meet and greet at this theater, and there'd be people bringing merchandise and stuff to sign. One fan actually once brought I don't know what kind of audience you have, but a 2-foot long black dildo for me to sign. And why, I had no idea. So I took the silver Sharpie, I signed this kind of 2-foot black dildo, and on his way. Years later, I'm on a film set in Philadelphia. I'm chatting in between, their setups, and I'm talking to this one producer guy who I've known then, and he says, I once met you at a Vulgarthon. I'm like, oh my God, Tommy, you never told me this. He goes, yeah. You signed something for me. Like, oh, what, a DVD, a tape? What did I sign? He goes, do you remember the guy who brought you the 2-foot black dildo? I was like, yeah. He goes, that was me. I was like, that was you? And now here I am working for him. I'm like, where's this 2-foot black dildo now? It's not here, is it? Did I get myself into something? So that's the craziest interaction that turned into a job later on.
Dude, look at me. You guys can say whatever the hell you want. Jeff, I want to hear a crazy fan story.
You know, I had a fan come up to me that told me she had an avocado-sized cyst removed from her ovary that she named Randall.
Okay.
I don't know whether that was flattering or not.
Take it, own it. Jason, I'm going to give you the last word. Brother, I know you've got to have one.
But you know, I feel like one of the weirdest things that happened to me was in the beginning. I feel like we were at San Diego Comic Con, and it was right after Mallrats. And I know that you've heard this story before. I feel like it's happened to a few people. But I was in the bathroom, and it was my first experience of someone recognizing me, because when we're at the table, it's different. When you're sitting there, people are lined up and they want you to sign your posters like, hey man, thanks, hey, thanks. But this is the first time I was on the floor, and someone on the floor that wasn't at the table, I was in the bathroom and he's standing next to me, and he looked at me and looked at me again, and I thought he was trying to take a peek at my, my wiener and stuff. And then he was like, hey man, he's like, I was waiting in line, I didn't get to see you at the table, but I'd love it. Do you mind if you could sign my DVD? Well, it wasn't VHS back then. And I was like, man, dude, my wiener's in my hand. You sure you want me to do this? He's like, look, I don't care. I was like, all right. So, but that, I mean, and there's been others that have gone on, but that always stands out to me, because I feel like anyone likes asking you things while your penis is in your hand is awkward.
How many times do I have to apologize for that?
Guys, seriously, thanks so much for your time today, bros. Seriously, this is just genius, man. And I'm so happy that you guys, I want another one. I'm going to be greedy and selfish and say I want another one. Seriously, I really, this thing ended. I told you I was in tears. I want another one. You guys have to do it again for us, because like I said, I've grown up with this, man. You guys have been a part of my life for a long time, and it's super cool to meet you guys and spend some time with you today.
Thank you
thanks.
so much.
Thank you.